First time I can like this.
Do you speak Spanish?
I know, it sucks, yeah. Spanish and like a little German, and I come to France, I'm just like, I have no idea what to say.
What a shame.
If you speak Spanish, then you should be able to learn French.
I know I should learn
Really
it. Actually, I
fast.
think I will probably learn it when I get back.
Tu vas lire this? No, okay.
Moi, c'est bon pour moi.
Moi aussi, ouais, c'est bon.
Ok.
Okay. No more noise? No. Your computer is making noise upstairs.
His ice cream is making some noise.
Yeah. Your ice cream is screaming.
Do you want me to turn off my computer?
No, c'est bon, Edouard, on l'entend pas.
C'est bon?
Yeah, because the fan of his computer is really making lots of noise.
I got a big fan on my computer.
Like
Very
a huge industrial fan for your computer.
Bon, ça filme ou pas?
Ouais.
Ça filme et ça enregistre.
Bon, c'est parti. Donc bienvenue dans la chronique du groupe invité. Ce disque est en fait... je dois recommencer. Vous voyez le papier? Hey! C'est bon?
Ouais.
Fais le point. Voici le disque de Nite, le seul disque qu'actuellement on trouve à Bordeaux donc de ce groupe californien. C'est le maxi What Did He Say qu'on trouve à Total Even évidemment. Et jusqu'à présent on ne trouve rien d'autre. Espérons que bientôt les albums du groupe seront disponibles. En tout cas c'est ce que m'a annoncé Ramona. Sans doute bientôt un nouveau maxi à trouver à Total Even. Et donc j'accueille donc Ramona. Hello Ramona. Hi, yeah, speak of microphone. You're from the band Nite.
Yes.
And I was introducing the band saying that it's the only EP that we can find right now in Bordeaux.
Yes.
But you told me you had many more records to sell.
I do, I mean, not that many, but I have the album that these songs are on, which was like sort of self-released in the States, so it didn't find its way very far into Europe. There was only like 1,000 copies of it.
And how come you sign on Italians Do It Better and your records don't find their way?
Well, that record wasn't on Italians Do It Better. That record I put out practically by myself.
You mean the LP from which we can find this
That's
EP?
correct,
Okay.
yeah. But there's a new 12-inch coming out on Italians that you should be able to find.
Okay,
Yeah.
in Bordeaux.
In Bordeaux, I mean, probably. I would hope so.
Yeah, we hope so. You hope so too. So, Ramona, you're the leader of this band. I mean, you're the one who created the band.
Yes?
And it started as a solo act, and
Yes.
only the three people on stage.
Yes.
So, what's the story between the beginning and right now, three on stage?
Well, I was like in the beginning, I didn't really have any idea that it would become a band, so I just started performing by myself with like backing tracks and keyboard, which is really boring. If you do it more than like twice, it's just so boring. And so I started asking people to play with me, Emily first and then Corey, and now it's like a real band and it's just a lot more fun than playing by yourself, for me at least, you know.
Okay, so you say it's a real band on stage, but when you produce songs, you all alone by yourself?
A lot of the time, yeah. I mean, I think there's some collaboration that goes on between my husband and I, Cole, and he helps me with like drum programming and mixing and some songwriting stuff on certain songs, and so I collaborate with him, but most of the time the genesis for the songs is just by myself in my house, and that's how it works, yeah.
Okay, so nothing in studio. I read in interviews that you had difficulty being at ease in the studios.
Yeah.
So you prefer being...
Well, it's not that I wasn't at ease in the studio. I love being in the studio. I mean, it's like I was meant to just record in a studio. I love it. It's the funnest thing for me. But it's rather that I felt like I had little control over the final product, that certain recordings would happen and I didn't know why they sounded bad or why they sounded just okay or not that good or maybe good, but I had no idea what in the recording process was happening. All I could do was play, but in the case of recording by myself, I can dictate how the actual production happens, which is not always to certain people's tastes, but at least I like it.
Alright, let's make a short break so we can change plans. Tu fais un plan...
Ok, sur elle.
Ouais, sur un zoom.
Ouais.
And we be keeping on with the subject of producing and recording,
Okay.
which is really interesting
Okay.
for Nigel. C'est bon?
Ouais.
Alright, so you finally choose to do everything by yourself,
Yes.
and mostly on A-track, analog A-track, or digital
Cassette,
A-track? Alright, why do you choose analog recording?
Well, I've done digital and analog recording in the past. I actually worked with 2-inch tape and with a very significantly large Pro Tools board, and now I've worked with digital 8-tracks, cassette 8-tracks, Logic, blah blah blah. For me, the 8-track that I was working with was just the easiest possible way for me to record things, and it made sense to me very immediately, and it just was. It was like I could actually record completely alone using this 8-track. Before I would need like a little bit of help. Oh, how do you rewind the tape machine? Oh, I don't know the plug-in. And with the cassette, it was like I could just be at home all for hours and just fuck around or mess around with stuff. And so that's why I chose it. Also, someone gave it to me as a present, so I was like, might as well use this thing.
Now, do you have any background in sound producing,
No.
sound technique?
In terms of production, no. Zero.
Okay, you are a performer or visual artist?
A visual artist? Sort of.
Yeah. Your biography says that you have other.
I know.
activities in
My
the-
biography was written by certain people who have a bit of a skewed perspective. I mean, perhaps they're correct and I am a visual artist. I wouldn't call myself a visual artist. I mean, I can't draw, I can't paint, I can't really sculpt. I mean, I've tried to do woodwork. I'm pretty bad at that too. I was doing sound installations in LA, and I took an art class at my college in installation art, and I did a video installation, several video installations. And that was really fun, and I loved it, but it was so hard for me. I mean, I'm not trained in visual art whatsoever, but I have done a few exhibitions.
Ok. On fait un autre plan.
Ouais.
So Ramona, you live in LA right now,
Uh-huh.
and you used to be in what you call under rock,
Yeah.
which was Berkeley, California.
Yes. I was
You
in-
say I've been living under a rock
Yes,
for
I did say that.
a long time. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Why is it so different to Berkeley?
I'm sure Berkeley and Bordeaux are probably somewhat similar. I mean, I don't know actually what it's like here, but in Berkeley, it's a small town connected and sort of influenced by larger cities around it, but very much isolated in certain ways. It's also kind of has a tradition of certain music and certain art that is very particular to the area, that is very like uncool and lame, sort of, and like unhip, you know? So like jazz is really big in Berkeley, folk music is really big in Berkeley, world music, kind of conscious hip hop was really popular in Berkeley, just like the lamest stuff, you know? And so that's what I grew up with. And like, of course I grew up with like, mainstream music also, but that's what I mean by living under a rock. I mean, my friends in LA did not listen to the kind of music that I listened to growing up. They were listening to like Britpop, and they were like mods, and they were, doing really cool stuff. And me, I was like in a jazz combo when I was 12. So that's what I mean,
So what did you used to listen back in Berkeley, except the mainstream things?
Well, like, I don't know. I mean, as a kid, I grew up with like folk music. My mom would take me to these folk music conferences for kids.
Conferences?
Yeah.
What do you mean by
like
conferences?
sort of like a festival, but not a festival. It's meant as a meeting place for people who are sharing certain music, because in folk music it's like an oral tradition. There aren't records that much. I mean, there are like pop folk records, but in terms of like the very basic folk songs, it's more stuff that gets passed on through having a meeting in like a forest or something. So like my mom would take me to these places in Petaluma, and like weird Northern Californian places, and like we'd sit around and sing these folk songs and stuff. So I grew up with that, and like world music and jazz and classical music. I played classical music, and then my brother, who's older than me, started listening to rap, and so I got really into rap at like, I don't know, 8 or something.
Okay, so nothing related to what you're playing right now.
Well, I think it's all related to what I'm playing right now. I mean, I think that there's definitely like the influences of hip hop and folk music in my music more than anything else, actually. I mean, the other sort of like flourishes, ethereal stuff, I think that's kind of, that's like the fringes. For me, the most basic stuff in my music, in a very like deep sense, is folk music and hip hop and R&B. To me, that's what I see in the big elements in my music. Yeah.
Okay. We talked a lot about 8-track recordings. Do you have any link with the artist I'm gonna quote? Chairlift, John Mouse, Ari Pink? Because those artists are very talked about right now in media and especially in the Brooklyn community.
No, totally.
So,
Ariel is a friend of mine from Los Angeles, and John is his friend. John was a very influential part of Ariel's life, I believe, according to Ariel, what Ariel's told me when he was recording his albums. John was always with him. And both Ariel and John, I'm a really big fan of both of their music, and have been before I met them, either of them. And I think that they're all sort of related to a group of people who hang out with each other in Los Angeles. For instance, Emily, my keyboard player, I did a video for John Mouse. I'm a fucking maniac, she did that video. Corey and Ariel are like really good friends. Like Corey got Ariel one of his first big hits in LA. You know, I mean, it's all like very connected. I sort of appeared on the scene later, but we're all friends. Chairlift, I don't really have any relation to whatsoever. They toured with Ariel last year in America.
And John Mouse is touring with them right
yeah,
now.
which I think is like slightly snafu, perhaps.
What does it mean?
Snafu, maybe sort of an accident, slight accident. I don't really think that John has any real desire to be playing with that band, but that's the word around town.
All right. So the thing is like the Lofi community is like the hip hop community, East Coast versus West Coast. I'm just provocating.
Maybe. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of bands on the East Coast that have people on the West Coast that they're like really good friends with, that are like hanging out with me and stuff. You know, like Tim Coe, who is in Ariel's band, which is the band that my husband is also in. Tim has played on records of people from the East Coast and is very good friends with like Gang Gang Dance and stuff like that. And so is Ariel, and Gang Gang always wants Ariel to be touring with them when they come to California and things like that. And I think that it's not really a East Coast West Coast thing as so much as like there's like an age gap between Chairlift and Ariel. I think a little bit. Chairlift like just got out of college. They just moved to New York. They're more like my husband's age. Ariel's like associated with a group of musicians who've been playing for longer. Chairlift is kind of a buzz band right now, so like that's more of the distinction. I actually think that a lot of bands from the East Coast are very well respected in LA. It's just a matter of how long they've been playing, if they're hyped or if they're just actual artists, you know.
Okay, and so you have very raw judgments about each other.
I think so. I mean, I think that there are certain bands from the East Coast that are like extremely well respected in LA, and there are some that aren't. And it's just a matter of the same gauge of judgment that we use for Los Angeles is used for New York as well. There's no very like basic dogmatism about like New York versus LA. I mean, I don't feel that way at least.
But you were signed on Italians We Better, and from a European point of view, this label is sometimes considered as very hype, very fashionable.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I mean, when I first found out about this label, I had no idea they even existed. I mean, to me, they're sort of underground in a way because, I mean, I didn't know about them. And I feel like I know a lot about music, maybe not contemporary music as much, but when I didn't even know who Glass Candy was, like about 2 years ago, or maybe less than that. So I don't know, and again, like Glass Candy's a band that's been around for a really long time that like Ariel knows and Tim knows and Jimmy Hay was in the band. And they were like, yeah, you don't know about Glass Candy? And I was like, I mean, I'm a lot younger than them, so I'm kind of ignorant in that sense. But yeah, Johnny gets a lot of hype, man. But he doesn't try. He just does what he does. He has no manager, he's no publicist. He just puts the music out there and people love it.
Yeah, but being in the same level as another band, like a very hype band, sometimes makes you be considered as a hype band.
Yeah, I see that. It's a natural sort of progression. Yeah, that's true. Hopefully I'm thwarting that right now. But yeah, I see what you're saying, and it's actually, hype is a beautiful thing. I mean, hype is what has brought me to Europe to meet you. So there's nothing wrong with hype. It's what you do with it. It's sort of like the internet. It's like the internet's fine unless you abuse it, and then you're insane. So.
Good mottos. So what about Europe? Your first time in Europe, so you said?
As a band, yeah.
Yeah, as a band. Oh, okay. So you really experienced like the other culture, different culture and way of seeing things.
Yes.
But as a band, how do you feel it? Like the audience, people who welcome you and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's really, really nice. I mean, I had no idea why we were even touring Europe. I mean, I felt like we're such a small band, but people come, like, 50 to 100 people are always at the shows, which is pretty much how many people are at the shows in anywhere in the US, if not more. And people are really supportive. I think that every culture has responded pretty well. I'd say Scandinavia was a little bit more held back, especially in Norway. But yeah, no, I was actually really shocked about Paris because I was really intimidated by coming to Paris. Like I don't know the language, like I was telling you before. And also last time I was in Paris, I felt like very intimidated by the city. It's just like, it's huge and like old and I don't understand anything. And we played at La Triskel last night and it was just like the best crowd. I don't know, everybody was really cool and very welcoming and supportive, and so all of my prejudgments have been dispelled. It's crazy.
Great. So I think it's the end of the interview. You're going to a few more dates in France than in England. Do you feel confident?
Finland as well.
Do you feel confident about England because you speak the same language as people over there?
Yeah, except I hear that people are like really mean in England. I don't know, that's what I hear. I've only been to London for like one day and it was like the worst day of tour. I was like stuck in the rain, like walking like miles, and like my cell phone didn't work and I was hungry and tired and I hadn't slept and no one would help and whatever. I don't know, that was kind of crazy. And I hear that people are like really, really not very nice in the UK. Is this true? I mean, like I don't know. Have you been there?
It's only prejudices. I would say no, people are really nice. I mean, all over the world, if you find the right people.
Well, there you go. So
Just,
I'm looking forward to it.
I think you're gonna be very curious about your music, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know who our fans are. I mean, every time we play a show, I'm like, who are you? I'm like, who are you? So I'm looking forward to meeting who these people are and seeing if they're nice or not. That's all.
Okay, last question. You're gonna play with a band tonight. It's called Trees and Asphalt.
Yes.
It's a Bordeaux-based band.
Right.
Have you had the chance to listen to their tracks?
No, I didn't even know we were playing with another band. I wish someone would have told me. I mean, I am so excited that we're playing with another band because every single show we've been playing with DJs only, which I love DJs, but like, I mean, I want to play with a band. I want to see them. The good thing for Trees and Asphalt is that because we've only played with one other opening band, I'm going to be very, very attentive to their performance tonight.
Good. Thank you, Ramona.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Very interesting.
And an American band
used to hate London. I don't know why. I was a
Everybody tells me, they say
Yeah.
they're like, ugh, be careful, like